Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're all having a wonderful time. Here are my starter character for the PoB1 event and an update on where I am after a couple of days of playing around with the build, and it's not still in the final state here, and I will try and make another update video once I farm the last pieces that I need. And at the moment I spent around 5 to 6 devices on the build so far, and I went with the Antiquarian, one of the Marauder ascendancies, and with this we're focusing on basically stacking ward to scale our defense and damage. And if you haven't seen the first video, I'll go over very quickly how the build works, and I even have an older video on the Ward Stacking Scion that I played at the start of the Calgary League that you can look up on a full build guide that's basically the same as the one that I'm aiming for here. Now first, the first ascendancy that we want to go for called the Calgary Armor, and we're also using Indra's Stand, a belt here which makes it so we gain ward instead of armor and evasion from our equipped body armor. And so here we want to as much armor and evasion on here as we can, and a conquest level is the one base that you want to aim for, as it provides most of that to us. And then we are using the Knight Grip to add chaos damage equal of 10% of ward, and we are at the moment around 38k ward when we are fully buffed. And yeah, we are using power siphon, and this also transferring it to mines, and they're just auto targeting and killing everything for us basically very quickly and with a lot of damage. And one of the perks is also by using mines is that you can actually use them when playing reflect maps. You don't have to worry about that because the mines is the ones that take damage, not you. So this is a great addition for this, which I forgot to mention in the earlier video. So that's a quick version of how the build works. So let's just go over the new items and some of the changes that I made so far. So we're at 94 right now, and here is the stats that we are going for right now. And yeah, pretty awesome. We have quite a bit of multiplier, and the crit chance here is going to go to 100% when we are fully buffed, and we do get up there really fast, so it's nothing to worry about really here. Now if we take a look on our gear, we are using pretty much the same setup here. We upgraded our wand here, got some base crit here, which is really important because one of the new items that we are using is Maryland Fallacy, and here you get a ton of extra critical damage multiplier, but we get less critical strike chance, so the base is less, and that's also why it's important to get higher on the base crit on our weapon here. So the base crit that we have on our wand here is applying to the skill here, right? The attack that we are using. And yeah, so this is why it's really important that we get that extra base crit basically. And we're also using Tranquility now, which is a anoint, which is really huge for this build. We get increased maximum energy shield and a transfiguration of soul, and this makes it so all the increase that we have to maximum energy shield will also apply to spell damage at 30% of its value, so that's quite a bit of additional spell damage to the build. And spell damage, which for power siphon you get 150% of its value, so it's just better to get spell damage than getting for attack damage, for example, or projectile damage. So that's one of the big changes that we are going for. Let's see, the ring here is another thing that we are using, Profane Proxy, and it's just a really nice addition for now. It's basically change one of your skitterbots, and it will apply the aura that are socketed in this ring. And for this we are using a despair, so it's basically applying despair all of the time, and you don't have to worry to cast it yourself. We also get a new shield, got a little bit more spell block, but it's the same as before, and I tried to get a little bit of avoidance to elemental ailments. Nothing that you really need, but I thought it was a nice addition to this. I found this really cheap, so I just got it, and I was trying to build a little bit around that, but this shield is something that we are going to change out for the end game either way, so nothing to worry about there. Try to get the spell block, get yourself a cap, really important because you are with the Knight Grip runic gloves. Also something that I didn't mention in the first video, that you are actually taking 75% of the damage will bypass the ward. So it's really important to really try to get yourself to cap at once with your block. And we are right now 55-55 here. We have lost all the extra block chance that we had down here with these ones right here, and we also went with the Anoint to start with as the mountain here, 3% maximum chance to block. And I think it was the mastery here. Yeah, so you get 2 additional here. We were at 80 before, now we're at 75. But 75, really important to cap this early on so you can take those extra hits, because the build is, you do feel quite squishy with this. And this is also something that I've been adding into a cost on death portal here, because sometimes you do actually get one shot. It's not that often, but it do happen. And the shield that you really want to is going to be Svalinn, but as it is so expensive right now, I haven't got the opportunity to get it yet. But this one is what you want to aim for. You get a lucky block from this, and the lucky block will be equal, I don't know the exact number, but I think it's like you get 87% block, I think, around there, with the block included there, or the luck with the block. And yeah, so it's a huge deal basically to have that one. And yeah, we're at 75 now. That's the best that we can do, and it do help out you to stay alive. Also, getting some life on your gear is important if you can. I have not been so successful right now, but I am at 2k basically, and yeah, you do die from time to time, but I haven't done so very often. Everything just dies instantly basically, and it's just those stupid moments that you're standing in something that you shouldn't. We're also using a new ring here, and this is nothing crazy with this. It's just a ring with dexterity and resist on it. You get some reduced mana cost with this, and it helps you to cast your spells and also your mines. And nothing that you need, but it's really helpful, and basically makes your mines pretty much for free. For the flask, you just went with a life flask with removal of bleed, because we don't have immunity to that right now. Jade for some more survivability, granite for some more survivability, armor and evasion here, and yeah, quicksilver for movement speed, and then also an iron flask, and this is going to provide you with more ward when you are popping it. It's just a nice addition, and I just set up a automation for this, so we are using it when charge is full, and this one when we are hitting by rares, so it will proc on the bosses and stuff like that. Now, something that we didn't have in the last one was also going to be a timeless Yule, and this one is really nice. I choose this location. There are other ways that you can use these, but I think that this location right here is really awesome. Another location that's nice to use is around this area here, so you put it in this one instead, and you're using Unwavering Stance. Here's another one that you can use at this location here. You can path down like these and picking up these ones here. You get a lot of different ones that you can use. But yeah, so Elegant Hubris, you want this with Caspero, and the reason why to Caspero is because you are going to transition into this one later on. This is going to ignore attribute requirement. I have not used this yet because I don't really need it right now, but this is something that I want to use for endgame. But yeah, so for now, for example, the chest that I am using, it's using reduced attributes requirement. This makes it able to make us use this chest basically, because otherwise it's quite expensive to use. Around like 170 dexterity is required. I have 123 right now, and the reason why it's so expensive is because this ascendancy here, you get reduced dexterity when we use this, and we need to use this because we need, or we not need, but we want to have the Lion's Shield here to gain 50% chance to block from equipped shield instead of shield's value. So you need to path here. And this is also helpful. Your hits can't be evaded, so we don't have to worry about accuracy. Really nice. But yeah, the reduced dexterity there is really painful. So here is what we want to use later on. And this is why we want to use this, so you can ignore attributes requirement, but you gain no inherent bonuses from attributes. And when we are using this, all the intelligence that we are using here do provide to Energy Shield. And Energy Shield from Faith Guard is what's scaling all the ward here. Increase on reductions to maximum energy shield instead applied to ward. And yeah, so we do get increase to energy shield from our intelligence here, and this is why I haven't picked this up yet. And we will have to use tattoos basically. So you will have to change all this to tattoos. It is possible, but it's just for the end game grind basically, and I'm going to showcase that in the next video. But from this also, this is something that you want to gambling around a bit, looking it up with the right number here. The numbers will determine what you get from all of these different points here. The small points don't give you anything. And yeah, so I'm using this one here, 701.20, and this provides me some block down here. Really nice. And we get Gambling Inquisition. This is the big ones. You get increased spell damage, and I have 2 of those here, and you can get one with 2 spell damage here for quite cheap. And you want to go for spell damage, you can go for projectile damage as well, but the spell damage, as mentioned earlier, do get the value here from 150% of the value for power siphon, so that want to go for spell damage. And then lastly, Eternal Separation, we get increased energy shield per power charge, so you do get some extra flat ward basically when we are fully stacked on power charges. And quickly, if I didn't mention that earlier, but from charge mine support, you get the frenzies and power charges basically all the time, as long as a mine is triggering basically, so you do get them really frequently. It gets really stacked up fast, so nothing to really worry about there. Now, how to use like this when you are not allocated to the tree. And it's going to be from this one, Impossible Escape. And here's one of the more expensive ones that I spent. I think it was like 2 divines. And yeah, this just makes it so passive radius of pain attunement. It's this node right here when you are not picking up the Yule here. But it's basically making so we can pick around without being connected to the tree. Now, if you want to search for your own timeless jewel here, I recommend you go to Path of Building, and then down here you can go to Find Timeless Jewel. You change the jewel type that you want. It's going to be Elegant Hubris for hours, and then you want Caspero, and then you want to change the jewel socket here to the one that we want. I'm using Pain Attunement right now, and this one here, Filter Node, this will make it so you're enabling all the points here that are within this ring here. These all that are allocated will be generated when we are searching here. So use this one and then search for nodes. Here you want to go for what you want basically, and here we want to go for, let's see, spell damage, and you add that one, and then you also want to go for that one, for example, some separation. Maybe you want some, let's see, something else. Let's go down. Chaos Resist is nice maybe. And then you search for this, and here we'll have all the results. And you can change also at here. You want spell damage, let's say you want 2 spell damage, so it's the 0 at the end here. You search for 2, that's going to enable everyone with at least 2 increase to spell damage, for example here. And what you want to do next is you press the one up at top, and then for example you go down here, and this will search for all of them. If you press this button here, copy trade, then you go to your web browser and search a new one, copy paste. And also make sure that you are at the right league. Phrecia here, and here we go. So here are all the results for the ones that we were searching for, and this is how you find your own timeless jewel. And we're also using a cluster jewel, and here you want to get one with increased attack damage while holding a shield, and these are around 1 divine at the moment. And the one that I have here, the notables, are just placeholders for now, and that what you really want to aim for is going to be these 3 here, and that's going to be Prodigy, and that's going to be to the block here for both attacks and spells, and you get some damage as well. Then advise guard for attack damage, deal damage, and also ignore to movement penalty. Really nice, and some movement speed as well here. And then strike leader for the extra 4% chance to block attack damage. These three are the ones I was going to try and get, and would recommend you to choose if you are able to purchase them, buy them yourself, or try to craft it for yourself. These three, but yeah, the ones that I'm using here is just for now it's just a placeholder before I can get them. And you also get 2 additional Yule sockets here. And here we have Replica Reckless Defense. This gives you chance to block spell damage and attack damage. I'm using 2 of them, and this will determine how much you need basically to get yourself to cap. I'm using those 2 there, and as I'm mentioning earlier, we also have this node right here. That's 12%. And I don't think that's really nothing new. We are using this wheel right here for block. I'm still using this wheel here for some spell block. And got some block on our shield as well. And that's basically all we need to do to get ourselves to block cap. And I don't really think there's too much new on the links. Let's just go over them real quickly here. I managed to get the 6 links, so that's new, of course. Power Siphon with charged mines, increased critical damage, locust mines, trap and mine damage, and then fork. And I'm chasing fork with void manipulation on bosses, but fork is really helpful when doing maps. It just clear more quickly and really helps out with that. So that's something that you want to try and feel for yourself what you want to do there. But it's a lot of damage. It's like 5 million damage with or 5 million DPS when we are swapping with this one versus the fork. So yeah, keep that in mind. We're using Flame Dash and also a shield charge with a life tap and faster attacks. So for mobility we're using those. We have a clarity, and as mentioned earlier, a portal on custom death. And yeah, until you get the shield I mentioned earlier, really recommend you set up that. We have a decoy totem still. I really love this, but not required. Just really performing well, I feel, to have one. Precision for some extra crit chance. We're using summon ice golem, that's also for some extra crit chance. And I just went with the minion life support to make our golem stay alive a little bit longer. Detonate mines with an automation and also steel skin to help ourselves to get some extra, to take some extra damage basically. Also linked with second wind. And here you can go with enhance enchant if you want to. And here you can also go with enhance gem for the quality here, which will really help with your automation here, give you increased cooldown recovery, and also detonate mines just will get you more detonation speed basically. And yeah, lastly some mosquito bots with unbound ailment support, and then Tempest shield for the block basically. And here the PoB of the build, I will put a link to it in the description so you can look it up for yourself. But we are at around 20 million hit DPS with this build at the moment, and a effective hit pool of 60k, not too much with this, but we are capped at least with our resist, a little bit with chaos resist still, but yeah, capped block, capped resist, normal ones, and at 38k ward when we are fully buffed basically. Yeah, pretty nice I feel for a low budget on this build so far, and build overall will be improved even more as this is not a final stage of the build as mentioned earlier. Feel free to share in the comments what you've been playing around in this league, and I hope you found this video helpful. Like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!